Let's bring in Chris Frates, the founder of Storyline and the host of Politics Inside out on Sirius XM POTUS, and Jamie Weinstein, host of the National Review podcast, The Jamie Weinstein Show. Both really good shows, and you're on my show. Thank you for being here today. You know, I don't know if you had a chance to see, but we just had a soundbite that Mike Emanuel played from Nancy Pelosi. You know, she is pretty comfortable with people running against her in order to win elections. And Tim Ryan, who's a congressman from Ohio, said, at the end of the day, I hope that whoever our nominees are, we let them be who they are and run the kind of races they think is best for their district. Jamie, Politico wrote a story this morning that this Conor Lamb win is basically exposing some rifts within the Democratic Party. Your thoughts on that?
Well, this has been a problem for some time. It's only really coming to the fore more recently. But I remember in 2002, after the Democrats didn't do as well as they wanted, Harold Ford Jr. trying to challenge Nancy Pelosi for the speakership, saying that she was too liberal. But this had some good effect in 2006 when Rahm Emanuel was leading the DCCC. He had congressional candidates, supported congressional candidates who are more conservative Democrats, and they were able to take the House. So that type of strategy where, you support Democrats, even more conservative or moderate Democrats in districts where that's necessary, ultimately does well for the Democratic Party.
Chris, Conor Lamb did not have a primary, and a lot of these other Democrats do, sometimes up to 10 candidates in the primary race. And so what tends to happen is you get pulled further and further to your left. And what Jamie was just talking about is Rahm Emanuel and Chuck Schumer's play that year was to just run straight up the middle. Can they actually do that this year?
Yeah, that's a great question about whether they can do it, but clearly Nancy Pelosi and the congressional leadership are okay with letting them try, and that's been different ever since kind of the Blue Dogs and the New Dems got wiped out after Obamacare. Democrats understand that they need those conservative Democrats to make the majority. Nancy Pelosi doesn't become speaker again at all if she's in the minority, and if she has a number of members who ran against her and opposed her, but won that seat because they were seen as being independent, not kowtowing to Democratic leadership in Washington, then she has a chance of becoming speaker again. I don't think the numbers are going to be so huge that there are so many insurgent candidates that her speakership would be in danger if they were able to recapture the House. The first order of business for Democrats, Dana, is that they get the majority. The second is, does Nancy Pelosi win? I think they understand that, and I think they're pushing for those centrist Democrats. We'll see if they can win those primaries.
Well, and then I guess the Republicans will see if they actually vote as centrist Democrats, because, Jamie, we know that they might run that way, but then when people get into office, they tend to vote with their party.
Absolutely. But, one name that I'm surprised we're not hearing more of is Mudcat Saunders. He's kind of a famous Democratic political strategist. He's the guy of this era. Nancy Pelosi should be meeting with him, getting him to help some of these Democrats in more conservative areas. He helped Jim Webb get elected in Virginia, John Edwards in North Carolina, Mark Warner in Virginia. He's kind of this populist Democrat that would be perfect of this era. I'm really surprised you're not hearing more of Mudcat Saunders. Right. And by the way, quote a minute. He's the best quote machine in politics.
I know. I've read a profile on him before. I got to check back in with him.